I want to just start off by echoing some of the comments that were made earlier about the TAP gap funding and how maybe we should look to redirect more funds to closing that gap instead of expanding Excelsior. And to Senator Liu's point about the drop in public support for SUNY, nationwide since the Great Recession, funding for public education at the higher education level has dropped by $9 billion, and we clearly have not met that, restored the funding to that level across the country, and clearly here in New York as well, and that's very, very concerning. And so I think we absolutely need to be looking to see other ways to increase support for both SUNY and CUNY and public funding for that, because to keep pushing the burden onto students' shoulders is just not tenable. But I do want to kind of revisit the question about mental health that's been talked about a little bit. What's the ratio we have of mental health counselors to students right now across the system?
I'll have to get back to you on that. It's going to be different at different campuses, and of course it's going to vary depending on the size of the campus, so I think that we want to normalize it by the number of students. I think that's one of the reasons why we were pretty excited about and we are pretty excited about the telemedicine mental health program that we had in place, because we had 10 campuses involved with that, and that was being staffed by psychiatrists at Upstate Medical University. It was very effective, but it got oversubscribed pretty quickly, so we were hoping to expand that program, and that's why we're asking to restore some of the funding, or all the funding for the telecounseling program.
That's the $500,000 that was proposed to be cut?
Yes.
Okay. I think nationwide the average is one counselor for every 1,200 students.
Okay.
And I think that where we are in New York, I think it's significantly higher than that, according to what numbers I've seen. It was like 2,000 or some cases. System-wide, that's a very, very big discrepancy, and I think we need to do a lot more to address that, because as you point out, there are a large number of students who need that type of support service. I want to transition a little bit. Do you have a sense of how many, or what percentage of our graduates from SUNY end up entering the public service workforce or civil workforce?
I don't off the top of my head, but I'll get you we have those numbers. We can get them for you.
And what is SUNY doing to create pathways for its graduates into the public sector, if anything? Do we have programs that currently exist? Are we doing things to recruit students to put them onto these pathways? Can you speak to that a bit?
Sure. I know that obviously University of Albany has a pretty big pipeline through to the legislature, and we meet a lot of the alums when we go through, and make our visits. So I know that that's one program for sure. We do meet other students, obviously, from some of our other SUNY campuses. But let me get you an inventory, and I'll come back to you on that. Both of those questions. One is the number of mental health counselors per student, and also what our programs do with regard to public service. Both very important.
And do you have any data as to how many students who have graduated with debt are enrolled in the public service loan forgiveness program?
No, I don't, but we'll come back to you on that.
Is that data that you think that you might be able to collect in the future? Or find a way to get some type of measure of that from your graduates?
Yeah. Let me come back to you. I think that would be a good thing to collect.
Because it's very concerning, with what's happening with this program, and it's obviously a federal program, that only 3% of students who are enrolled and eligible have been granted forgiveness. And so if we have a large number of our own graduates who are not, who are being screwed by the system, we should know that and find ways to help address that.
Absolutely. Thank you.
All
Great
the questions
points.
I have for you. Thank you.
Thank you.